Hello, everybody, and welcome to the On the Gas podcast with episode 5, which you'll hear me repeat again in a minute when I do the actual intro of the podcast. But we are here back discussing everything that happened in Aragon, including the clash between Pecco Bagnaia and Alex Marquez. Our thoughts, our opinions on it, Marc Marquez's domination, of course, and everything that went on in between, including some little rumours and new tracks being added to the calendar. So I hope you enjoy, and yeah, that's about it, really.
Enjoy
the podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 5 of the On the Gas podcast. I am once again joined by Cameron and Lauren. Hello.
Hey, hello.
How's it going?
Yeah, good. It's been a weekend.
Time off, Cameron?
Yes, I was in the big smoke. I was in London.
What were you doing in London?
I didn't know you were in London.
Just kicking about, seeing some shows, eating some food. London things.
Nice.
Yeah. Nothing exciting, really, to report, I'm afraid.
Sounds great. Sounds absolutely thrilling from what you've just said.
It was. I mean, absolutely skint now, because that's just what London does, but there we are.
True. It's true.
Yeah.
And then Lauren was in Dublin, weren't you?
I was over the weekend, yes.
Mhm.
Missed out on all the action as it was happening. So, although it was good, I got to catch up on it all last night when I got home because I'd sort of seen snippets of what had happened throughout the race weekend. And I was like, ooh, I'll sit down with my popcorn and get ready for it. So, safe to say I was not disappointed with everything that has happened this weekend.
Pretty crazy weekend. But before we kick on to the weekend, we'll discuss the things that happened before the weekend, including the major one of Brno being added back to the calendar for 2025 through to 2029. A fan favourite track, of course. A track that has featured many battles. Jorge Lorenzo versus Danny Pedrosa 2012 springs to mind. It was also, coincidentally, the track that broke Marc Marquez's win streak in 2014 and was the first race in Marc Marquez's MotoGP career where he didn't finish on the podium for the races he finished, obviously. So yeah, he made it a year and a half on the podium in every race he finished, and it was Brno that Danny took the win and Marc was fourth.
I'm sure he's very happy it's coming back. Yeah.
You explained that a bit better there. It took me a while to figure out what you were trying to say there.
But yeah, so it's a fan favourite. I'll be real, I've never liked it that much.
I like it. I don't know.
It's always just been a bit meh for me. It might just be a me thing because we've had some great races there. I mean, Johan Zarco's long lap penalty springs to mind as well. That was absolutely epic. I think Brad Binder.
How unreal it was.
Yeah, and then Brad Binder won his third ever race there as well. Maybe I'll love it this time round. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, apparently there's been some funding that has been kind of put through that has meant that, so they can race at Brno next year, and they'll do a resurfacing later this year because that was the issue with the track. There was no resurfacing. So we might see Carol Abraham appear at the weekend, I'm sure, as well, because the track, I don't know if it still is, but was owned by his dad for a very long time.
Whoa, what a weird flex.
Yeah? Did you not know that?
No.
His bike for years had Brno circuit on the side of it. Because Carol Abraham Sr. owned the track, and so everyone used to call him a pay rider, a daddy's boy, because his dad was paying him for him to have a seat in MotoGP, much like Lance Stroll.
Do you know what? I can picture that now. Now that you said that he's just always had the Brno track on the bike. I'm like, oh yeah. I suppose he did.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about that at all right this second. So there you go.
Yeah, but
I am observant.
You are, I can tell.
Yeah.
So I'm quite excited for that. I think that should be quite good. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on it?
Go, Lauren, go.
I mean, I don't have many thoughts. I think it's a good re-edition, and like no massive battles spring to mind or anything like that when I fully think about it. But if you were to ask my dad, he'd be so ecstatic about it coming back to the calendar. We always talk about, oh, if you could race anywhere sort of thing. He always says Brno. He says he loves it a lot. And I remember when the announcement came out last week, he was like, yeah, this is a great re-edition back. So yeah, don't know if I just never really paid much attention years ago or what, but I'm excited to see it back. And like you said, it's a fan favourite, so clearly they're doing something right. So that's what we want to see. We want to see the atmosphere, and we want to see the stands packed full of people. So if that's going to help to do that, then I'm happy to see it come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's one of these tracks that's kind of similar to Aragon in a way, where it's got a little bit of everything. You got big elevation changes, you got long sweeping corners, you got chicanes. I don't think you've really got any like proper tight hairpins. There are some, obviously, like slower
second
corners.
To last corner, maybe the last corner. Because that's
second
an
to last corner
is
is an S. Yeah, it's kind of, but it's like uphill and then slightly off camber. So like it's a challenging track where I think, it's not like we're Austria where it's obvious where a certain bike is going to win. The rider can very much make a difference. And like you say, there's got a lot of history. There's great battles there. I think it's just going to be good to see it back on the calendar. And it's nice that there's yet another option where if one round maybe gets cancelled, we don't necessarily have to have like 2 rounds somewhere else, or there's another option there, which is always good.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of other options and rounds being cancelled as well, there was kind of some talk before the weekend, and now I believe, if I can find it on my phone, I did save it somewhere. I can't find it now. That's right. So there was some talk before the weekend that Hungary will be back on the MotoGP calendar next year, in place of Portimao, because Portimao, some issues with Portimao, fans not really going to the track that much, funding, money, all that malarkey. And today an image got posted, I don't know if you can see it very well, Pedro Costa, and on the September the 19th at 11 o'clock, there'll be a press conference about the Balaton Park circuit in Hungary. So we could see Hungary. I mean, there's a press conference about it, so we could see Hungary replace Portimao. And I wonder, I'm unsure. Hungary, when it was on MotoGP.
Do they race F1?
Yeah, they do. Azerbaijan? No, that's Azerbaijan, isn't it? F1 Hungary.
Not even close.
Not really.
Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan?
So, they do it in the Hungaroring in F1.
Oh, the Hungargo.
Oh.
Yeah. And MotoGP was only in Hungary for 2 years at the Hungaroring as well. It's won by Mick Doohan, apparently, both of them. Yeah, Eddie Lawson won in 92 and Mick Doohan won in 1990.
Oh, I thought you said owned by Mick Doohan, and I was like, what?
No.
I'm learning new things about Mick Doohan every week. Like the other week I learned he had a son who's about to race in F1, and now he apparently owns all these tracks. No, sorry, I didn't hear you.
So because the Balaton Park circuit is meant to be ridden by World Superbike this year as well.
Okay, almost as like a sort of shakedown for it, do you think? Do they go there every year?
No, it'll be the first time. I'm just going to check because I believe...
Are they going?
Check because I'm not sure if it got cancelled or not.
Is that... I have a funny feeling it didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm certain that got cancelled. Yeah, it's not on the calendar.
All right.
So, they were meant to go, it didn't. And then, But hold on, it's saying here that... This is Wikipedia. In September 2023, it was revealed that the Balaton Park circuit will be planned to be included in the Superbike World Championship in 2024. It will also be the reserve venue of MotoGP in the same year, before the return of the Hungary Motor Grand Prix to the Hungaroring in 2025. So MotoGP will go back to Hungaroring.
You're struggling with that.
God, well, at least we'll have time to learn how to say it between now and
But then on the image here, it's got Balaton Park Circuit. So it's Hungary at least, but which track? Not sure.
Yeah. Don't know if we can quote Wikipedia.
No.
No,
I'm going to leave
but
it
I
at that.
have confirmation that World Superbikes were meant to race there.
Yeah.
But I had a message from someone a while ago to say that it was still to be confirmed, but there would be a potential replacement weekend in the second week of October if it didn't go ahead. So
Okay.
I can't remember if that got
It's not on the
announced or
official.
not.
Yeah, that's it. Hungary was cancelled. That's right. Hungary was cancelled, and then Estoril changed to do round 11 instead. That was right. There you go. Jog my memory there. So yeah, Hungary could be back on the calendar. Thailand will be the opening round of next year, and we can expect it to be absolutely packed now that they have a MotoGP rider next year.
Yes.
In the name of Somkhat Chantra.
Quickly, I have a bone to pick with MotoGP about this. Okay, so the season starts on the 2nd of March 2025. Where was I
early.
in the 2nd of March this year? Thailand.
You were finding yourself in Thailand.
And I could have found myself at the MotoGP in Thailand.
That's a nightmare.
But I was a year too early.
You've had a mare.
As much as I'm excited for it to be in Thailand next year, I am furious that they have done it a year later than when I was there. I don't think it's in the budget to go next year, unfortunately. But
that's a shame because it will go off, I think, with Tomcat Chantra there. I mean, Taka Nakagami will retire at the end of this year. Scheduled to do, I think, 5 wildcards next year as a test rider. I guess in place of Stefan Bradl or work alongside him because he's now basically he's going to get a new job as a HRC test rider. And to be honest, he's probably the best man for the job given the fact that he was the fastest Honda yesterday. 10th place. I think it's the first top 10 of Honda the entire season.
Is it?
But he
main race.
He was promoted to P10 because
he was promoted.
Because of tire pressure infringements.
Zarco's best result is 12th. Nakagami's best result.
First time directly into Q2 this weekend too with Zarco.
Yeah, Zarco. Yeah, P8. Yep. That beautiful Jivy Castrol livery this weekend, special livery, looked absolutely stunning. Yeah, Nakagami has genuinely been quite impressive. He is the top Honda in the championship as well, with a whopping 17 points to his name.
Here, compared to Marini, it's huge. Not bad.
I know, considering Marini's got 1. He actually, Marini, hilariously, I don't know if you saw the media quote out at the end of the race, because Marc caught up to Marini, finished the race only 4 seconds behind Marini. And Marini was like, "Oh, I saw Marc behind me, and I managed to keep him behind me, so I beat Marquez in the race across the line." I was like, "I'll read that."
Marc nearly lapped Marini.
Yeah. He nearly lapped his old bike. Yeah,
we haven't seen that kind of gap in a long time. Did something happen to Marini? Was he just straight up slow?
Yeah, he signed to ride to Honda. That's what happened.
Well, yeah. Yes. But was he punted off track at any point? Did he have long lap penalties? Is what I mean.
Believe so. I believe he was just doing his race and
it's literally just nearly 2 minutes behind Marc Marquez by the end of the race.
No.
I'm going to check his laps now. I'm going to go through every single lap of his race.
Well, buckle up, folks.
No, it'll be analysis by lap.
I'm just going to go check Twitter, which makes more sense.
There's literally a form that Dorna have. I'm not doing that. Hold on. Lap chart. They just should have it per rider. No, that's not it. Let's have a look. This is really...
It's thrilling stuff.
I was going to say, this is absolutely... Right, here we go. So, back of the grid, where is it? Why is Fabio in 21st? Did Fabio crash?
Fabio crashed.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He did, yeah. Luca Marini, 17th. So, none of his laps scream as being a bad thing. On the last lap, he did do a 57 when he was doing 50s the whole race.
Got it. Knew I'd read it somewhere. Luca Marini started the race from pit lane.
That was it. Yes, that was it.
You're welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Still,
there we
though.
go. Still, though, yeah.
Still concerning, but
Well, the fact of the
highly.
matter is, Marini's fastest lap was a 150.2. Marc's fastest lap was a 148.2. 2 full seconds faster on a year-old bike.
I don't know who, like, what does it say more about, Marc or the Honda and or Marini? Really?
Both.
Don't know. Both, yeah, like both ends.
Mhm.
A little bit. I could say like, oh, it's a wake up call, but honestly, like, I don't doubt that Honda are trying and Marini is trying, but like, good God,
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, if it had been Sachsenring or something, or like a really short lap, that's, that is a lap. That if it was only about 4 or 5 seconds behind him by the end of it,
Yeah.
then
It was like
that's your lapped, mate.
4.94 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Unbelievable.
That is pretty unbelievable, to be fair. Good stat. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So nice of Marini to kind of take the mick out of himself a bit there as well.
Yeah, true. I mean, if you don't laugh, you cry, I think. It's one of those situations.
Yeah, and then the last thing before we do go into the race weekend is that Paul Espargaro has been confirmed to do another wildcard at Misano, which is actually interesting because Austria was meant to be his last one of the year, and they put him out at Misano as well. It's quite nice because Paul actually tested
such a good
quite
job.
significantly. Yeah, he's tested it quite a lot recently anyway.
Well,
on the KTM.
Danny was at Misano last year, so maybe there was something to do with that.
Maybe that, yeah, possibly. But yeah, it was meant to be, according to the race anyway, it's meant to be Paul's last wildcard of the year in Austria. Because I believe they did an article discussing the facts of, life of being a racer and then after being a racer. It's quite an interesting article, actually, if you go and give it a read from the race. But yeah, it'd be nice to see Paul back again. I quite like Paul. I think him and that KTM, they do really well, and I think he's a great addition to their testing team. Takes a lot of the weight off Danny's shoulders as well, because Paul has more recent MotoGP experience as well. And for Paul, it's not as difficult to keep race fit, because you got to remember, Danny's nearly 40 years old. Despite him being absolutely unbelievably fast and fight for podiums every time he steps on that MotoGP bike, he's a bit older than Paul, doesn't have as much recent experience as Paul. So Paul is absolutely vital for that. So it's nice to see Paul back on track, I think.
Yeah. How many times can you say Paul in one sentence?
I get shot every time I say Paul. Anything else you want to add, or am I just talking to myself?
I'm giving Lauren room to speak here because I feel like I always just chime in.
No, Taron. I think you've covered that pretty well. I think I just want to hop back to Chantra pretty quickly because I feel like I stole his thunder a bit by complaining.
Classic.
Just a touch. It wouldn't be like me.
Shock.
But yeah, I don't want to brush over that. I really want to give him his like credit where credit's due. As soon as we seen that Agura was going to Trackhouse, we did sort of know that there was a high chance that the seat was going to go to Agura then, to Chantra instead. So yeah, I just think it's absolutely fantastic. He had a pretty solid weekend as well, just passed, and he's the sort of character that MotoGP needs. It's a conversation that we've had so many times on this podcast before. And yeah, if you've ever seen an interview with Somkiat Chantra, he's a fantastic personality, and I'm just so excited to see what he can do. I know obviously going to LCR Honda, it's going to be a lot of hard work, but yeah, you'll see how much it means to the Thai people when we show up at the start of the season next year, because you're right, it's just going to be absolutely crazy, and I'm excited for it to be the season opener, so it's going to be good.
Me too. Be a long night, but it'd be a good one.
Yeah,
flyaway races and all that. Yeah, I'm quite excited to see Chantra in MotoGP. He's quite fortunate in the fact that team that he's in, the LCI Dimitsu squad, they support Asian riders. Nakagami got 7 years on that bike, meaning Nakagami might have a lot more time than maybe he would have had, say, Gresini Ducati, where he might get 2 years and then he has to go again. Whereas being with that Idemitsu squad, being with the Asia, he's got the Asian links to the team and the sponsor, he might have a lot more time than what, like I said, he may have got elsewhere. So for some Antra, I think it's great. It's a great team. Lucio Cecchinello runs a very good squad. And yeah, I think he deserves it. He's won a good amount of races in Moto2. Has he fought for a title? No. Do I think that if we're going off passport and purely on results, another rider may have got there? Sure, but it doesn't hurt to have Chantra on that bike, especially given the fact that the season opener is Thailand, and yeah, it's an Asian part of the bike, Asian team within MotoGP, within the LCR squad.
Yeah, I mean, there was only really, realistically, 2 people in contention for the seat.
And one of them
with
doesn't want
Nakagami
it.
deciding to finish. So, makes sense.
Yeah. And then the final point before we actually head into the race weekend, they'll kind of blend into the race weekend, to be fair. Ferman Aldeguer, within hours of us uploading the podcast, was officially confirmed at Gresini Ducati.
Like, just write mug across our foreheads for this
Yeah,
next
I
episode.
felt like
Honestly,
such an
Gresini
idiot.
must have been listening to us. Like, we complained so much on last week's podcast, and we acknowledged plenty of times that, like, wait till you see us look like idiots tomorrow, Thursday. I thought Thursday, I was really surprised when I woke up on Wednesday and seen the news being announced. But yeah, thanks, Gresini. And
Cheers,
Paddy,
Gresini.
for eyeing us like that.
Yeah.
It's because I wasn't here.
Yeah, that's it.
I never would have let that slide.
It would have been announced.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't have let us chat.
I wouldn't have let it slide. I would have
Nonsense.
just said to you, like, no, just hold on a second.
Just shut up.
I don't think this is the right time to be talking about this. But you didn't listen to me through the ether, so here we are. Couple of mugs.
That's it. But Fermin obviously signed that deal, now MotoGP rider for next year. So you'd expect, right, he's going to perform. Heading into the weekend, there was also some talk, because I run that Motor Racing Gear page on Instagram. And so I'm quite interested in like helmet sponsors and gear sponsors and stuff like that. And I spoke to a few people, including, I'm not going to say who actually, but I spoke to a few people, and they all basically said that Fermin might be changing suits. And I was quite intrigued, and they said day and easy. And I'd heard that he had a few issues with his suit throughout the year. He wore former boots throughout the year, this year and last year. There's a photo actually where you could see his toes, because the boot wore through to his toes in one race or in one testing session. And then he stopped tagging them on Instagram. And then he was wearing Alicia's boots, which tells me that he's not being given boots anymore. And then he was having issues with the suit itself. I know a few other riders have complained with arm pump in that suit, the Machna suit. And
really?
Yeah, there's a few unconfirmed rumours that he was having issues with his suit. So I spoke to a few more other people. And then it turned out that he had tested a Day and Easy suit at Aragon a few weeks ago. I obtained a photo of that as well. And I was intrigued. I was like, I spoke to a few more people who confirmed that he went 6 kilometers an hour faster with a Day and Easy suit on than the Machna, and it felt a lot more comfortable, and he could ride the bike a lot better and felt a lot more natural on the bike. And I again was like, maybe this is a missing key. Then I got told, yes, definitely he's wearing the suit this weekend. Sure enough, FB1 rolls out, he's in a brand new Day and Easy suit, and within the first 20 minutes of the session, P1, just consistently P1, and I was like, you know what? I think that's it. He's back. Yeah. He actually might be back after we slated him. And then suddenly it all just fell apart quite quickly after that. And he ended up crashing out of the race, as we know. I'm not sure where he qualified. I'm just trying to find it now. Qualified 11th. And again, I'm like,
great.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. You're a MotoGP rider now. Surely you should be, putting in the stronger results. You've got the new suit now. It's a lot comfier to wear. You're 6 kilometers an hour faster. And you're still qualifying 11th. Why are you in MotoGP?
Yeah, it should be front 2 rows, at least, front row preferably, right, on a qualifying. And then, I don't know, that mistake that he made in the race was proper.
That was a rookie error.
Rookie, right? Just
on a rookie, ironically.
On a rookie,
on a rookie rider, like there wasn't even a gap there to go for it. It was just a silly little move. I don't know. He looked really impatient because he made up all that ground in the first couple of laps or whatever, and then found himself, getting passed back once he started getting up to the sharp end of the field, and he just looked so desperate and impatient. It was like really proper rookie stuff. Not what you'd be expecting for someone jumping into MotoGP on a Ducati and, taking the seat essentially of Marc Marquez. Like, come on. I don't know. Time will tell. We know he's good. We know he's got speed, but like
he's got it.
He's got it, whatever it is. But like, there's also got to be brains and racecraft there. And
yeah, but yeah,
I don't know.
I think he deserves credit for his start. I do think, because he'd managed to get himself up into fighting for a podium place. He was up with his teammate Dennis Onchu Morera, who'd qualified really well. I think Cameron said it right, is he just looked impatient. He'd done all the hard work to get himself up there. Jake and Tony looked a little bit out of touch, I suppose, for the people fighting for third place. So I don't know if he thought maybe he had something there that he could have maybe fought for second place or fought for the win, or if he thought he had more than what he did. But from very early on, you could see that he was slipping and sliding all over the place. And I know grip was a massive issue for a lot of people this weekend, but he did not look steady whatsoever. And I think it was just a matter of time. And there was a few times where Dennis Onchu had maybe braked a bit harder than what he was expecting. And in this instance, Dennis Onchu was on a slightly different line, I think. Firmin then just absolutely sent it. There was no gap whatsoever. I don't know what he thought he was doing at all. And then crashed. And it was a really stupid mistake because he was on for really solid points. And he might not have got third place. But I think, you're moving up to MotoGP, and as much as he is young, and we do need to give him time to adapt, etc., and he hasn't got into MotoGP yet, that's a next year thing, but this maturity that he's showing, or lack of maturity, I should say, is starting to become quite a red flag now, because how long can you, put it down to, he's inexperienced and he's young, etc., etc., there does come a time where we're sort of going, no, he should know better than that. And that was a really stupid mistake. And he should hold his hands up and sort of go, look, I don't know what I was doing there. I sort of just saw red and went for a move that wasn't on and held his hands up. But I haven't heard too much of what he said on the matter, so I can't for sure
kind of
see that he hasn't said that. But I'm not really happy with how immature he's sort of been over the weekend. He had the pace and he showed really good potential. Okay, qualifying wasn't there, but you'd made the places up and you'd done a lot of the hard work, and we were sort of getting to halfway race distance and you make a mistake like that. Like, I don't know. I'm disappointed almost.
Disappointed? I was just about to say, not mad. I'm just
disappointed. Yeah,
to add
obviously
to
I'd seen he was P1 on Friday and I was like, oh God, Deck, you're right. Like, this new suit and everything, like, we've finally figured out what the issue is, because, Jake's starting to make it work. Tony Arbolino this weekend started to make it work, and, championship contenders or championship hopefuls, some others didn't make it work and we're really struggling, and this was an opportunity for me to close in on the championship, and he completely balls it up.
Well,
to be quite
to
frank.
add to that, basically Firmin on social media said to come back from P11 to fight for victory with a fall with another rider. Obviously it's translated, but with a fall in a touch with another rider who left us with no options. But like,
he was in front of you.
Yeah, but you're also racing against Dennis Onchu. What do you expect?
No, but he was in front of him. Dennis Onchu was in front
But
of him.
to
And I don't know how
add-
you race, but
yeah,
the guy in front of you've got to get past him before you can start complaining that he's pulling silly moves on you.
to add to your point though, because I was like, yeah, it is a rookie move, like, and you shouldn't have dived up the inside. And, I was going to be like, that's not MotoGP caliber, really. You need to be the best of the best. And then you look at Alex Marquez and Francesco Bagnaia and you go, actually, you know what? You're fitting just fine in MotoGP, Furman.
No.
Different
Yeah.
situation, I would say. Totally. I mean, Furman's one wasn't a racing incident.
Yes, that's fair.
In my opinion, it was for
me
a lunge.
crashing into Dennis Onchu.
It was
yeah.
It was just being foolish. It was
there was no sides of the story for me.
Exactly.
It Onchu, and is very lucky to have not taken him down.
Yeah, if
with him,
Onchu had gone down on
thankfully.
his first podium, I'd have been gutted.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I
incomparable. I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah. I'm not biting on that one.
Yeah. You're not getting your rail out of that one.
Damn it. But yeah, heading into the actual MotoGP weekend, before we then obviously go to Moto3 and Moto2 afterwards. So it was obviously a very dominant weekend by Marc Marquez. Led every session, didn't even go out in the warm up because he was like, "Nah, bro, I'm chill. I'll just sit in hospitality,
it's fine.
Drink some Restella Galicias." Topped every session, qualified on pole by 0.84, I think it was, ahead of second place. And then destroyed everyone in the sprint and just absolutely annihilated everybody in the main race. I think Pedro Costa was 15 seconds back in total by the end of it. Which obviously there are two missing riders there. Yeah, Martin was 5 seconds back. Marquez obviously did stand up over the line, which cost him time. But yeah, 4.789 to Martin, 14.904 to Costa, with two missing riders in there. And yeah, he just absolutely whooped everyone. It's kind of the performance we expected at Kota and at Sachsenring. I think having a year out of the track helped, but it's a left-hand track. It's a track Marquez also trains at quite a lot at the karting circuit. He knows Aragon well. It's his home circuit, shall we say. And yeah, I think I even said in last week's podcast, this will be the last podcast, the last prediction that I put Marc Marquez in P1 for. And it happened because...
Look, I am a bit raging that I didn't predict him to win, in fairness. But I just want to add, because you'd mentioned there about not racing there last year. I am directly stealing this from the Paddock Pass podcast, by the way. Someone had tweeted about this, which has brought this to my attention, where they were quoting Frankie Carcetti, who is obviously Marc's crew chief, saying that no one had any data for the track on these current aero bikes. Everyone was starting from scratch, and that's why maybe the likes of Pedro Acosta was back up at the front of the field, because it was a much more level playing field. I think that's also, that backs up Marc's case as well of why he was so dominant.
Talent came through and talent prevailed at the end of the day. And it didn't even matter that it was on an old bike, because I think Francesco Bagnaia said something about the fact that the way he kind of gets off from corners around the Aragon, he was just absolutely gobsmacked by it. And I think when Marquez qualified in pole, like as everybody else, Pecco then was like just absolutely stunned. He genuinely just could not believe what had gone on, and he gave his credit where credit was due. And I think for Pecco, who all year has been like, I'm beating Marquez here, and every week he's like, yeah, and obviously people are like, oh yeah, but you're not on the same bike. And Pecco's like, we'll see next year. I think that this weekend may have been a little bit of a wake-up call, and maybe a little bit of a, this is what you're up against next year, Pecco. When you're on equal bikes, this is what you're up against. And the thing is, this is a one-off weekend, and could be a one-off weekend, but it could also be the story next year, every weekend, and you've got to match and beat that, Pecco.
Well, yeah, sorry, I just completely cut you off there.
No, do it.
I think another thing to think about is that we are heading to Misano, which, yes, the likes of Pecco Bagnaia is good around, but
Marquez
that's
won
the
there.
last circuit that Marquez has won at before Aragon, 1,040 whatever days.
43, yeah.
21, Misano is the last time that Marc Marquez won a race. I was there to see it happen, and he won pretty convincingly. So, I would be a bit worried if I was the likes of Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martin. I think I'm not surprised that Mark went and did what he did. I know I didn't predict it to happen because I'd sort of been disappointed earlier in the season when it didn't happen at the other tracks, that he's just absolutely insane at. And I had lost hope a little bit, and I'd lost faith in it a little bit, but you should never count out Marc Marquez, and I think I was just brutally reminded of that this weekend. So, the GOAT is the GOAT for a reason, and I am glad to see him standing back on the top step. He's
The
been through a
GOAT.
lot. One of the GOATs. Don't say.
I was like,
Don't
what?
try and twist my words.
Whoa.
Thumbnail, your face.
He is the GOAT.
Marquez is the GOAT. Yeah.
One of the GOATs. I don't think there is only one
No, I don't.
GOAT in
There's
MotoGP.
four.
Because
There's four GOATs.
It's all different. Can't compare them. But anyway, back to my point. Look, he's just doing goated things, what can I say? But I think what I was more interested in this weekend was the struggle of Pecco Bagnaia and how smart Jorge Martin was again, breaking it down into sections. I mean, Pecco Bagnaia was 20th or 21st after the first session on Friday. And, I caught a little bit of it, didn't get to watch the whole thing live, and I was sort of going, oh, that is quite interesting. Like, yeah, Pecco sometimes takes a little bit of time to get off the starting blocks of a weekend. So I wasn't exactly like, oh, this is going to be an awful weekend for him. He ended up qualifying all right, not exactly where he wanted to be. And then obviously I watched the sprint race and was like, oh, you're fighting with Fabio Quartararo for P8.
Finally.
Fabulous to watch. Thought it was absolutely great, but it's not the battle that we should be watching, unfortunately. Fantastic for Fabio to be up there, but not where Pecco Bagnaia should be at all. I was sort of going, that is a bit strange. But again, we've seen him be a bit slower on a Saturday. The points are on Sunday. The points that matter are on Sunday anyway. And he always bounces back, and he is a Sunday man. And then I think he was slightly over optimistic or something on Sunday because he had a terrible start again. He didn't fix the problem or the issue that was there. I know the surface conditions weren't fantastic for anybody, but it really seemed to affect Pecco, and it
that
was
wheel
quite obvious
spin off the line.
Yeah.
And then
but I think the difference, sorry, I'm going to keep going. I think the difference is that Pecco, I think, was trying for too much on Sunday. And he could have just went, do you know what? I could be in fourth place here and take home all right points. And yeah, I'm going to get beat by Jorge Martin, who is now going to be ahead of me in the championship, but only by a couple of points. Now, unfortunately, yes, due to a crash that is very 50-50 in my opinion. And I do think it was a racing incident. Now he's 23 points back. And unfortunately, I don't like saying that sometimes you need to settle in racing, because if you're not going for the overtakes, then what are we racing for? But in this case with Pecco Bagnaia, I don't think he played it smart at all, and I think he panicked. And I think that also led to why the crash happened, because he was going for something that was just and he sort of, I don't want to say threw his toys out of the pram, because I think he handled himself very well, in the debriefs and stuff like that. And he said exactly what he wanted to say. And I know him and Alex Marquez have spoken about it privately too. And as far as I'm concerned, and both riders are concerned, that it's been squashed now, and that's that, and they'll move on from it. But yeah, it's hard to look past it when you see his competitors keeping a level head, and the likes of Jorge Martin, who we've seen has had to settle for second place a lot of times and a lot of weekends this year, did it again and played the smart mind game. And if the championship comes down to 23 points at the end of the season, you're going to go, wow, championship rider, and someone who let their emotions get the better of them when they're having a bad weekend.
Well, you say about Pecco, there's a video I saw it on Reddit earlier on the MotoGP r/MotoGP of Pecco, and he's meant to be doing a practice start, and you got Tardozzi and all the Ducati engineers stood on the wall watching him do it, and he just bails out of it. He's like, nah, and just rides off. And you say about Fermin Aldeguer and desperation to get through and get that move onto the whole incident. We are going to rip the band-aid off. The whole incident between Pecco and Alex, I think, screamed a little bit of desperation from Pecco to try and make up ground for damage limitation. He knew, and it was a racing incident. No one is at fault. Just want to put it out there. In my opinion, no one at fault. Pecco knew he was faster than Alex, and therefore, for Pecco, easy overtake, easy extra points of the championship, 3 extra points you get. So, you know what? Make the overtake, sure. He sees Alex Marquez go wide. Bingo. All right, let's make this overtake. But Alex goes wide, and I wrote it down earlier, so I didn't get it wrong for the podcast. So, what I said was... So, Pecco isn't dumb. We know that. He knew that Alex would be there. When Alex went wide and Pecco came back into overtake, he knew Alex would be on the right of him. Because why wouldn't Alex be? He's there, he just overtook him. But he thought by being aggressive, because Pecco came in and cut over Alex's line, which is why they entangled and why Alex had nowhere to go. Because Pecco came in and did his natural move. Pecco does this quite a lot, where he'll come in, he'll overtake, and he'll cut your line off. You have to pull out of it then. Pecco's got the move. He had to be aggressive, because... And he was expecting Alex to maybe pull out of it. But because he'd already stolen Alex's line, it meant Alex had nowhere to go, which is why they crashed. But on the other hand... Alex didn't see Pecco from what Alex said, but should have also have anticipated Pecco to cut back. You've made a mistake. You've got a rider right behind you. Of course they're going to try and overtake you. You'd be silly to not think that. But the same way, you can't then brake. You can't back off into the next corner expecting them to do that because you're in a race. But then when Alex went wide, he should have anticipated that Pecco had been there. And I can't use the photos because... I've not got... the photographer hasn't said, yes, I can use your photos. I haven't asked. But Gareth Harford, who is the Golden Goose photographer, put on Instagram a very good photo kind of carousel. One of the crash and then the photos leading up to it. And you can very clearly see on one of the photos, Alex is kind of leant over on the right and Pecco's just next to Pecco, just ahead of him. So you got Alex on the inside and then Pecco just outside of him. And from that photo alone, you can clearly see Alex can't see Pecco because he's looking right over the apex, past the apex. Pecco's behind him or just next to him. His knees in the way, the bike's in the way, his arms in the way, his hands in the way, and he's looking over here anyway. And his helmet will stop maybe there, I would say. He's not going to be able to see Pecco whatsoever until it's too late. And then a racer I spoke to also said, you've got to remember, these things are happening very fast. Alex probably knew about Pecco when it was too late. Because it's happened, when we watch it back and we go, wow, what the hell's happened? You've got to remember, these riders are also experiencing that in the same real time, which is why that accident occurred. And I think both of them made errors that were costly and caused an accident. I think that both of them could have used their noggins a bit more. But in the same way, Senna said about, if you see a gap, you've got to go for the gap kind of thing. But I think Alex should have anticipated Pecco to be there. Pecco also should have anticipated Alex would have tried to make up the gap that he'd just lost out and not stolen his line in front of him.
You're also always putting yourself in a dangerous position if you're putting yourself on the outside of
exactly.
another rider.
Yeah.
I think is a big one as well. I think both guys just sort of fully backed themselves, which they should, and sort of half expected the other one to just sort of go, oh, okay, no, got to back. This guy's clearly faster than me, or this, which you do see riders doing in certain moves, and riders sometimes do back out and then maybe get the drive for the next corner and overtake them again, sort of thing, and maybe have a bit of a tussle that way. But yeah, I do see it very 50-50, and I do think that both riders are to blame for what happened, because I think if either one of them had decided, oh, yeah, do you know what, I am going to roll out of this, then yeah, the incident probably would have been prevented. But we've said it now a couple of times, they are
Why should
racers at
they?
the end of the day.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're not. It's not ingrained in them to just lie on their backs like that and just give the place up.
I think also, to play kind of devil's advocate or just throw it out. So this is the third time that Pecco has been in an incident with a blue Ducati this year. So we had Portimao, where he was on the inside of a move like this. No, he was on the outside. No, inside? He was on the inside.
Yeah.
Where they went down. Because he couldn't see Marc Marquez, and they collided and they went down. At Jerez, he was on the inside. Marc Marquez did leave enough room coming through, what is it, turns 8 and 9 or 9 and 10? And they collided. You saw the marks on Marc's suit, the tire marks. But
he's also been involved in an incident with Maverick Vinales last year that was kind of similar.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But Pecco went for that gap both times. Let's say because he couldn't see the rider on the outside. This is the first time Pecco's found himself on the outside of that move, and essentially does not anticipate, let's say, for the move that he would have made and has made earlier in the season, and has went down and said that it doesn't make sense that Alex didn't see him, all this stuff. So thoughts on that one? Pecco's in the spot where other riders have been, on the receiving end of his moves.
Yeah. I think it was a bit rich coming from him. I know I said he handled himself well, but I do think he articulated himself well after what had happened, all things considered. But I do think it's a bit rich coming from someone who has been involved in incidents like that in the past and has blamed the other rider, to now be the rider on the outside and blaming the rider on the inside. It's
more succinctly
quite funny, actually.
But it does hark back to what we said in the past about Pecco, where sometimes they can have this little sort of entitlement sort of air about him in the things he says, and maybe the same here too. And the way, obviously, he rides on track, because maybe he felt entitled, like, this is my spot, clearly.
Or he felt faster, or he felt, like, this is, like, stop getting involved in my championship sort of thing, like, let me past you, and whatever, or, Ducati, like, I'm the number one Ducati even.
Yeah,
like,
I've got the number one plate. What are you doing in front of me?
You need to get out of my way, sort of thing. So, and it's totally fair for Pecco to feel that way. Like, he is the number one Ducati, and he is for a reason, So,
yeah.
Don't know.
That's it. I think it's a tricky one because no rider's completely innocent, but then no rider's fully to blame.
Both took a risk with how they rode.
Yeah, and I've spoken to a number of professional racers here because I was intrigued to just get their opinions on the whole thing, because we can sit here all we like and talk about what's happened and stuff, but we're not the ones actually going on track and doing it. And a lot of, pretty much everyone that I've spoken to today has basically said that, racing incident. I said earlier about the fact that when you are going at those speeds around those corners, and you're banked over and you're looking, because obviously target fixation, you're looking past the apex, you're looking where you want to go. You're not going to be looking and going, wow, look at this, what Pecco's there, are you? Because that doesn't make sense. And every single one I've spoken to said racing incident. Every single one, racing incident, because none of them, if Alex had gone miles off track, ridden over the gravel trap, and then hopped on at the next corner, and then they collided, maybe you'd say, one was fully his fault. Or if Pecco had just driven through Alex, which he kind of did a little bit, to be fair, then you could fully say Pecco. But Alex had to go wide for
Sounds like
Pecco
you're a
to
bit
make.
60-40 on this.
No,
to
no,
be
no, no,
honest.
no. Because
64 is exactly it.
no. Because you're not there. So let me finish this point.
Oh,
So,
okay. Sorry.
Oh.
but because I said about Pecco running through Alex, but because Alex went wide, Pecco could go through Alex because Alex made the mistake. So why wouldn't you capitalize on that mistake of him losing 4/10, 5/10 in one corner and given you've got the drive, he's not got the
I just
drive.
think
He's going to make that up.
Yeah, it was too risky. For someone who's battling for a championship, it was too risky. I think in that split second where you see Alex Marquez go wide, I think you maybe just go, is this the right opportunity? And again, this is so easy for me to say, sitting here now, at 0 miles an hour, not, how fast they're going, that he should have taken a little split second consideration. But that's how fast you have to be in MotoGP. And that's how fast these riders think. And I just, he should have took a second thought about that one and just sort of went, I can get him properly in
on the
half
straight. Ducatis the GP24s were so much faster on the straight.
Yeah.
2 corners later.
I don't know about that. It was struggling to make the pass into the final corner on Alex. To be fair, I don't know why it was. His GP23 was.
He was
managing to do enough, but like eventually,
he's got Mark's data and is Mark's brother, and Mark's gonna be giving him tips. So no offense, but I would back Alex more in that situation of like he's getting all the insights and how to ride better around this circuit.
Set the bike up, but in addition to that, sure, he was struggling to make that maybe overtake, shall we say, on the last corner.
Yeah, the easy one
because Alex had a little bit of a gap. But because Alex made that mistake, Pecco then could have just sat on his rear tyre through the next right-hander, on the left-hander, bam, he's got him. He's got the slipstream, slingshot past him. Pecco's the best breaker in MotoGP at the moment. Outbreak Alex, easy, and you're ahead by the line, and you got third place. But impatient, maybe desperate, because he wants to claim those points, which is what Pecco does. Some weeks we sit here and go, absolutely brilliant, so calculated, absolutely like impeccable, as we say. Just, he's very smart. But then other weekends, he just gets his brain, puts it in the pits, puts his helmet on and goes out and makes stupid, costly errors that, like today, mean that he drops very significant points when he really didn't need to.
No, he didn't need to. And I think that brings it back around to the point of how often now we've seen Jorge Martin settle. And if this is what it comes down to at the end of the championship, I do think that Jorge Martin at present has shown better. I don't even know what the word would be, but like it's okay to take second place in the long run and just put your hands up and go, I was not the better rider today. Marc Marquez was better. Pecco should have just been like, like he did it in the sprint race and he sort of did just have to go, look, I had issues today. But he was in 4th place. That is not 8th place or 9th place, wherever it was that he was in the sprint. You're already scoring so many more points. And yes, Alex Marquez made the mistake. Sit there for a minute, sit there for a lap, 2 laps, think about it, do it properly. You can't get past him cleanly, don't do it. You've got a championship to think about, and it just felt like he wasn't thinking about it whatsoever. Whereas Jorge Martin, boom, there you go, 23-point lead, just like that, and he didn't have to do anything out of the box to now get that lead. He just played it safe and did the right thing. And look who's laughing now. Like that's the biggest the championship gap has been in quite a while now.
Yeah,
I mean, Neil Hodgson said the same thing in the Moto3 race when David Alonso's tyres, he cooked his tyres and was like, sometimes in a championship season, you need to take some fourths. You need to just accept that today's not your day. Take a 4th place because at the end of the year, you'll be the one celebrating. And it's crazy to think that Pecco's won 3 world titles and yet still struggles with that mentality as well.
Yeah, But I mean, I can totally see where he was coming from.
I get it as well.
Being desperate's an awful word to use, but having that, like, I know I'm better than this, and I know I can
Yeah.
win, and I'm better than these guys, but it's a very hard pill to swallow on that day, and sort of you have to go back with your tail between your legs and go, oh god, I really
I
effed
messed
this
up
up.
here.
I think
Yeah.
it was made worse as well by the fact he was just, well, everyone was being embarrassed by Mark.
Yeah,
And it was even
absolutely
more of
wiping
an
the
ego
floor.
hit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just more that his ego had to take. So he wasn't building his weekend the way he wanted to, the way he normally does, where he's FB1 is, or P1, I can't remember how they call him now,
FP1.
but FP1, where
Friday,
yeah, like he's really out there just getting data and getting a feel for it, and then he builds the weekend, and it just wasn't happening. So that's a frustration. Mark was, in another league, but then like Martin was making it work as well, and there were so many things that just weren't going Pecco's way, and it did, I think, culminate in a bit of frustration. Still a mistake, an uncalculated risk, unfortunately. But I'm glad he's okay, because it was a nasty crash. So
that's a massive thing. Like for a crash like that to happen, and when they hit the gravel, because he was stuck under the bike for so long, and then he gets finally out from underneath the bikes, it really does hit. Well. It hits him really hard. I can't remember if it was his own bike or if it was Alex's bike, but he gets hit hard from behind. Anyway, like a really bad hit to the back of the head, and I know he's got shoulder and neck pain, which completely understandable, but God, he can't catch a break going to Misano, because last year he was injured too, obviously, with a mad crash that happened in Barcelona. But I think the only saving grace is that they are going to Misano, and they are now going there for 2 rounds, and Misano is like what Aragon is to Marc Marquez, to Pecco Bagnaia.
He's always
so much experience. There. So much experience there. It's a second home round for all of the Italian riders. It's good for the VR46 team. And I think that's good, because all of the noise was on Marc Marquez this weekend, but now we're going to Italy, and all the noise will be back on Pecco Bagnaia and back on all the Italian riders.
Because we've got 2 Misano rounds.
Yeah. It'll really help the ego, and sometimes that's what you need. And you need that confidence boost, because all these riders, they have to believe in themselves. So thankfully we're heading to Misano, which will help Pecco immensely. I could see him scoring 37 points easy this weekend. So.
Yeah. And hilariously, before Cameron makes his point, I just wanted to jump in and say, you said about Pecco not having a lock going into Misano. His very first podium in MotoGP was at Misano, and he was on crutches.
There you
go. Well, my point, just while we're talking about this, like the move to Misano and how it's in Pecco's favour, obviously Pecco's going to be quite deflated after this weekend. What happens if it doesn't go his way at Misano?
Self-implodes.
What's his mentality then? Does it
self-implodes, crashes car in Ibiza again, and then just chaos?
No, I don't know what happens if he doesn't do well around Misano. Who won last year? Because it wasn't. I think
it was Pecco.
But he was definitely on the podium anyway.
I'm sure he won at Misano, because I'm sure it went off. It was either him or Martin. Let's have a look.
All I can remember is that Danny Pedrosa was 4th.
Yeah, it was Martin. That was it.
Martin won there, yeah.
Bezecchi, Bagnaia.
Bagnaia injured last year, and he went, do you know what? I'm going to sit in 3rd place, and I'm not going to get involved, and I'm not going to be silly, and I'm going to take the points, and away we go.
What if it's Mark that beats him?
Well, things might be different then.
And
I don't know. I think he'll have a long, hard look at himself, though, and go, what went wrong in Aragon, minus the crash with Alex Marquez? What was my problem? What was the issue? I think you take the bike and the conditions completely out of it. What did I do wrong, and how can I improve? And sometimes you do. You have to look in the mirror and you sort of go, how can I be? Yeah, how can I be a better person? How can I show up to the weekend on Thursday, even Friday? Show up just in a much better headspace sort of thing, I think will help. I think if he shows up, obviously he will have to talk about what's happened at the weekend, but if he shows up in a much more positive mental attitude, I think that will help. And then spin a few laps on the Friday and see how he feels, sort of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Right, we'll talk about some other MotoGP riders. Pedro Costa makes his first appearance on a MotoGP podium since America. Got a double podium this weekend. Yeah, the GOAT. Love Pedro.
I just threw that sort of word around there, you know.
I do love nothing. Yeah, it is funny, Pedro. I think every time I hear a quote from him in the media, he's talking about someone's balls. Because he said what he said. Marquez had big balls to come back and do what he did.
Kahunas.
Yeah, and then I watched his little documentary of Gavin Emmett as well on TNT. That was really good. But again,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he was talking about having big balls there as well. I was like, Pedro, like,
Dennis Onchi was talking about that in his press conference as well. Apparently,
what, big balls or the documentary?
No, big balls.
People are obsessed with them, but yeah, it was great to see Pedro up there anyway. He actually said to TNT Sports after the race that it was one of the hardest and most difficult MotoGP races he's had because of the changing conditions, because of the temperatures, because of a dirty track, and he just had to basically ride around it. Going back to that Frankie Carcetti quote, the fact that, no data from last year, Pedro could just go out and ride. And yeah, like you said, natural talent kind of just prevailed. Yeah, made the difference. I think Pedro also doing a bit of flat track and things like that may have helped him as well. But it's great to see Pedro back up there, especially because last time out in Austria was one of his worst. Was his worst MotoGP race weekend of the year, and then he goes and puts it on the podium twice. And a big shout out to Polarity Photo, Rob Gray, the Gas KTM photographer, because he got a photo of Pedro that was absolutely sensational. Rob Gray,
it's on something else.
Yeah, the one where he's spraying it and there's the glitter behind him. Go on, Rob Gray Polarity Photo on Instagram. Go on his feed and have a look. So good. Just wanted to give Rob a shout out because he's a bit of a legend, and his little apprentice Joel Cooper. I know you're listening, Joel. He provides us with our thumbnail photos. So the thumbnail you'll see on YouTube and on the Spotify was taken by Joel. So yeah, a little shout out there for Joel Cooper. Thanks. Hawk Media Services. But yeah, just a great weekend for Pedro, and yeah, I'm quite buzzing to see him back on the podium.
We love to see it. He's a great character. He's just one of those. You just love to see him do well, right?
He's funny.
Says what he's thinking. Yeah, he's funny. And after...
He's an old soul, is what people say.
Yeah, like old soul, but he's entertaining. And after we see these sort of PR savvy characters like Pecco on the podium all the time and doing all these talks, then you get Pedro coming along talking about balls, and it's like, it's just it's funny, isn't it?
Refreshing.
Refreshing. Sure, it's one of those things where it just helps the spectacle of the sport. It's about more than just the racing. It's about the people,
the personality.
Yeah, and it keeps you watching for another 10 minutes because you're like, well, I wonder what Pedro's going to say to Simon Crafar at the end or whatever.
Yeah,
because he might say something unhinged.
It's not past him to swear. I mean, he swore in many after race interviews. He swore receiving his, I think it was the Moto3 World Championship. He swore while he was on stage and was sort of just like, oh, sorry about that.
Whoops.
He's a very, very funny guy, and he says exactly how he feels. And I think that's the amazing thing about him, is that he's made it to MotoGP now, but he's kept that spark that he has. I mean, his glasses are held together with duct tape.
I know. I love that
on the internet.
But
I remember these guys are they're just the same as us, and it's crazy to think that. And Pedro just shows that.
And he loves the sport, like that TNT documentary that said about with Gavin Emmett. Pedro was talking about Kevin Schwantz and all that, I used to love watching these races of Kevin doing this, and then Barry Sheen. And Pedro could know these things, he knows the sport. It's not like he's just going out there racing and getting a paycheck and going home. He's
It's
fully
not a job.
invested in it.
Yeah.
He lives, breathes MotoGP and riding motorbikes, and I quite like that about him, that he is an old soul as well, and he's just chill and he's just funny as well. And I think seeing him on the podium a bit more, maybe next year, can only be good for the
Hopefully.
sport, only good for the spectacle. And yeah, I'm quite excited to see him back on the podium, to be honest.
Yeah.
But heading into...
Just
carry
one
on.
more thing, just on a slight tangent, but still Pedro related. Am I right in saying that the last time Marc Marquez won a race, Pedro was a Moto3 rookie?
Yes.
2021, yeah.
Mad.
That's kind of wild. It's gone from Moto3 rookie to a GP rookie in the time that's taken Marc to win another race.
I'm going to make a post about that
that's
tomorrow,
just,
thank you.
yeah, like, I don't know. It's just one of those things. People like to say, this has happened since... We've had how many prime ministers since Marc last won a race?
Pedro's won 2 world champions since.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
there you go. You're welcome, Dick.
Yeah.
I will take the check in the post. Thank you very
Great.
much.
Thanks. I'll let you know how much it earns. Nothing.
Not
but yeah.
with the paper it's written on.
No, but I want to give a few nods to some other riders. It was great to see Franco Morbidelli just outside the podium fight, but I think the rider of the weekend for me, yes, Marc, exceptional race. You know, Pedro Costa, great to see him on the podium as well. Enea Bastianini, though, apart from causing Zarco to crash, because that wasn't great, but Enea Bastianini had a pretty solid race, 5th in the main race, 7th in the sprint race, to fight his way through the field the way he did and get to that front. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with that, apart from the whole Zarco incident.
I think if you have to say "but" in a sentence, he shouldn't be your rider of the weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
I think, how far off P1 was he in the sprint and in the race?
In the sprint, 14 seconds, because Marc had a 3-second lead. And then Acosta was 6 back on Marc, and he was 3rd. And then the main race, Enea was 18. But again, Marc was 15 really, up from 3rd.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to switch it up. Digi.
To be fair, comeback and a half from his injury.
Just going to throw that name out there. Jorge Martin. Like, I think a lot of people need to give him credit. I've tried to imply that a lot of times over this podcast episode, so I'm going to reiterate that.
Well, the thing is, if it weren't for Marc being Marc, Martin would have won the race by 10 seconds.
Comfortably, yeah.
Right? So, it's not like nobody else could find any speed this weekend, and it was just Marc happened to make it work. Like, Martin was clearly on it too.
Yeah, and if Marc had made any mistakes, Jorge Martin's there to clean up the mess.
Full profit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
comfortably. So I would agree that Martin made a hell of a job, considering that where he finished in front of all the other GP24s.
Yeah.
And I think Martin did really well. Yeah.
As did Brad Binder, 6th sprint, 4th in the main race. Additionally, in the sprint race, for the first time ever, the top 5 are all satellite bikes.
Yeah, that was cool.
I think for the first time ever, anyway.
In a sprint, anyway.
Pretty sure that is.
Yeah, in a sprint. Yeah,
the stats said. Yeah.
Oliveira 5th. Gutted about his crash in the main race. That was a fast one.
Yeah, that was a shame. Yeah,
I think Fabio was having a good weekend until he had a crash in the main race too. Because like I said, he was fighting with Pecco in the sprint, and that's something that we haven't seen in like 3 years. So
absolutely. Yeah, moving to Moto2 now. Before we head into the destruction that we saw, well, not really destruction, but a very impressive race regardless. There are some rumours. We like rumours. So Manuel Gonzalez obviously officially confirmed to ride for the Intact squad next year, which I think I mentioned on the pod the other week. And Celestino Vietti was confirmed to speed up as well to replace Fermin Aldeguer. Now, there is a rumour that Binder will actually be going the opposite way to Manu and going to Grassini. That was one I heard today. And the main one that, when I first heard it, I think on Saturday, I was like, that's just rubbish. That's just tosh. And then somebody else said the same thing who was in the paddock, and I was like, and now Italian media have posted it, and now Czech media have posted it, that World Supersport Championship leader Adrian Huertas could be off to
Oh, I did see
Italtrans
this.
next year in place of Dennis Foggia.
Are they
That's
going to
a
do a
shock.
switch?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Well, I want to know like what conversations led to that being to Huertas being the kind of front runner, you know?
Because he was earmarked for a World Superbike. The Superbike is boy.
Superboy.
Superbike, man.
Superboy.
Yes, Superbike. So earmarked
Boy up.
Superbike seat. Because the whole rumour was Huertas, Superbike, Yari Montella, Superbike in Barney alongside Petrucci for Montella, with Huertas maybe going to Aruba in place of Bautista, or going to, Go 11 or something like that. But there's a big but. They're also then going to close down the Aruba and Barney Supersport teams to just focus on Superbike.
Oh.
Which meant that even if that does happen, Huertas doesn't have a seat in Supersport next year. But as basically said, from what I've read today, he doesn't want to go to Superbike. He wants to join the Grand Prix circus, which makes sense because he grew up racing against Pedro Acosta, against Fermin Aldeguer, against Daniel Holgado. He was in the Red Bull Rookies against them all. He's part of that squad, but then separated and went to Supersport instead. He could end up joining Moto2 next year as a double world champion, Supersport 300 and the World Supersport 600 championships. So for him to go in there, he can gain more money as well by being a double world champion as well. And, it's a path to MotoGP, really. At the end of the day, he's still very young.
Yeah. 2 points. One, the World Supersport thing is wild. About Aruba,
again, I've only heard it from one person, so...
Okay.
Yeah,
because that is what confused me there. That was a bit like...
Yeah, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
No sense whatsoever seeing how dominant they are in that class. Last year it was Bulega,
and
this year Huertas is
and both of them really
doing really well. Yeah. So that's a bit confusing. But on the other hand then, second point, with Huertas, I mean, it makes total sense, even just in the sense of like a lot of riders see MotoGP as the pinnacle of the sport. So if there's no room in the inn at Ducati in World Superbikes, which doesn't look like there's going to be,
I think there is. He just doesn't want it.
Well, with the Aruba stuff, obviously we're no further in the confirmation of what's happening with Bautista next year. I know Scott Redding's even been linked to possibly making somewhat of a Ducati return, so not sure what's going on there.
Yeah,
but
isn't he going to stay with Bonovo on a Ducati? Is what I heard.
Don't know.
Oh,
do not know. He's meant to have a BMW contract, as far as I'm aware, but
they'll pay him out of
he
that
was up
because the team
BSB the other weekends too, so that is interesting. But yeah, back to Huertas. Makes a lot of sense. Don't see why. Like, if the opportunity's there, and Italtrans has been a front running bike in the past, so maybe getting someone like him into the field might be a good thing and get them sort of back towards the front of the pack. Joe Roberts used to race for them, and he was, up at the front. Maybe not consistently and all the time, but he definitely could make the bike work. So yeah, I think it would be a really good move for him. And he seems like a really genuine, nice rider. I sort of seen a bit of him when I was at Donington World Superbikes, and he was up on the stage dancing and getting involved in they do a great charity fundraiser at World Superbikes for Two Wheels for Life, and he was up fully giving it stacks and getting involved with that. So again, when we're talking about having personalities in the paddock, he'd be a fantastic addition to the Moto2 grid.
Yeah, he's a nice kid, Huertas. I like him. So yeah, that's the rumour anyway. But rumours, shall we say, heading into actual race, from scoring 0 points in the opening 5 races, having severe injury in Qatar, Jake Dixon's season was pretty catastrophic after the first 5 races. Now, 12 races into the season, he's a firm title contender, has matched Sergio Garcia's tally of 2 wins and 5 podiums. I believe it's 43 points back now. 5th in the championship. Jake Dixon is absolutely on fire. And I think it was one of our clips the other week where we said, I think it was Lauren, you said about the fact that Jake Dixon can pretty much go all the way if he can continue like this. We've got 8 races, is it now? 8 or 9 races left. He really could put on a title tilt because that win in Silverstone was very convincing. And now Aragon is backed up and gone, that wasn't a fluke. Look at this.
Yeah.
Onshu was 5.5 seconds back in third. He was on rails.
Really impressive. Like, proper championship ride. Consistency is what we need. And consider, like, what you class as competition seemed to be floundering as well. Is that the word?
Garcia was nowhere.
Garcia was nowhere.
Injured, though.
Injured as well. So is Ogura.
Yeah.
Ogura injured. Roberts crash.
Roberts
Furman
made a
is
very
just torpedoing.
stage.
Oh,
Yeah.
Roberts was stupid. Did you not see him like roll around in the gravel?
Yeah, and go, oh.
He crashed. It was like, oh my god, what have I done? But yeah,
Yeah.
no, stupid for me was stupid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Karen
like,
Common, sorry.
no, but genuinely, it's like it's the consistency of, or lack of consistency of the competition, and then Dixon finding this form at the right time is, like, I see no reason why, barring bad luck or injury, he can't win the title. Like, with maybe a few rounds to spare. Who knows?
oh, don't know if I would
If it
dig at that. But yeah, no, he could. If everyone keeps going
yeah.
the way that they're going and he keeps going the way he's going, yes, soon he will be in a surplus of points, yeah.
If the last few weekends keep
yeah.
repeating, then
I think he scored the most
why
points
not?
out of anybody in the last 7 races.
Oh, he has, yeah.
Like,
surely.
He was on par with Ogura, and that was heading into Silverstone, or coming out of Silverstone possibly, and now Ogura was out last weekend.
Yeah.
Salvaged some points this weekend, but compared to Jake, no
He's
way.
the only rider with 4 podiums in the last 4 races. Yeah, he's just absolutely annihilating everyone at the moment. And
well, yeah, I said it after Silverstone, so I'm glad I did say it, because now it's coming somewhat to fruition, and I sound quite smart for once. So
yeah, it makes a change. Yeah.
No, it's nice to back him and for it to finally be working out for him, I think, is the big thing. Like, he's another one that he's such a character, and unfortunately I do think the MotoGP train has sort of left him at the station, but I think a world championship would sort of, I don't know, would be the cherry on top of the cake for him anyway. And yeah, the team seems to like him, and I know he's moving to VDS next year, but going with the championship could be a pretty cool thing
enticing.
to do.
You'll get a nice little bonus, I think, for moving over there with a number 1 plate, I'm sure. From Mr. Van der Straten, it's not like he's strapped of cash, so
would be nice.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
But yeah, very good. Very nice to see Arbolino back on the podium as well. I believe they said that he went back to more of a Dunlop style setup this weekend, which obviously favoured him massively. He currently sits in 10th in the championship. So big haul of points for Arbolino. I think there's lots more talk about that Yamaha seat opening up for him next year on the Boscoscuro alongside Sasaki. I mean, Fabio's mates with Tony and Sasaki, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that kind of fall into place like that. Yeah, I hope to see more from Arbolino because we know what he's like. We know he's fast.
Yeah,
so,
I think we will in this second half of the season. He does well in adverse conditions, and
he does.
Going into these flyaways, you never know what to expect with the weather, and Aragon sort of proved that this weekend. And I think Moto2 was very similar to MotoGP in that the talent rose to the top, and some people floundered and panicked and sort of rushed things and wanted more and weren't patient, and some just bided their time. I mean, for Tony to be back on the podium for the first time this season is mad.
Crazy.
And you can tell he's a real race winner when he was disappointed that he didn't get the win. You know, he could barely even celebrate with the fact that he was second. He's one of those guys that just won't take anything less than a win. And yeah, I'm really glad to see Arbolino back up. And I did predict him for the podium, so I'm glad that's finally finally happened.
It's quite reassuring that the form was also helped by like a setting change, rather than just like, I don't know, just kind of worked this weekend. There's actually a reason for it, which bodes well.
He has struggled
with tires. If they found a good base setting. Yeah, exactly. If they found a base setting that works and he can kind of go out and be fast from the get-go, that's only a good thing, right? So maybe it's going to end up a Dixon Arbolino championship for the second half. Who knows? Who knows?
I'd love to say that. I mean, Arbolino was second in the championship last year. We know he can fight for race wins and for championships. So,
and then Dennis Onchu in third, rookie. You know, the fact that he got injured, missed 3 races, and come back, got a podium in his second race back. Impressive.
Trains with Top Rack. That's what it is.
He'll be a MotoGP rider in a couple of years if he keeps going the way he's going. I'm so glad that he's done that, because it's been a struggle, I think, at the start of the season. And we did mention it when he was out injured, that KTM did the right thing by letting him take the full amount of time in coming back from that injury. And just look what happens when you actually let a rider fully heal and there's no pressure on them. They perform.
They flourish.
And he's doing really, really well. And he did really, really well throughout the whole race. You know, he didn't panic when that incident with Firmine happened, and he settled back into it and took third place. And I think, next year he's definitely a name that sort of could be floated about for a championship contender.
Yeah,
definitely. In the right squad.
Yeah, 100%. And some more notable rides before we move on. Alonso Lopez fighting for a podium, 4th place. Pretty solid. I think in the championship he sat in... Where is he? Has he dropped down? Third in championship. I was like scrolling down there. Where is he? Third in championship at the moment.
Yeah, because he did the right thing.
And stayed on and just took the points. You know, he's doing really well this year, and I'm glad he's got that contract for next year as well. You know, the fact that, you know, we know a few years ago he got cast out of sport pretty savagely in that Max Racing team. And, you know, he's just proved that he deserves to be there consistently and impressed. And then, of course, the man in 5th. They should really staple his name to that sheet every week, really, for 5th place. Manu Gonzalez again.
Dear.
Our interview with him did just go out as well on the On the Gas podcast Instagram account. So check that one out. And then Ayagura as well, 8th place, fighting through the field. He was 17th at one point, finished 8th. So
good stuff.
Very impressed by him. And that's about
Moreira.
Adji scored more points as well, just want to add.
Yeah,
Moreira, very impressive all weekend as well. I think, obviously, did he not finish? Where did he finish? 17th. What happened there?
Never mind.
Who?
Because he qualified. He qualified in the front row, didn't he? Didn't he follow?
Yeah, he was in that.
He was in the battle when Firmine.
Yeah.
He did.
17th.
He must have went off track or something.
No one spoke about that though. I did not know that. Never mind.
Well, it was a solid ride until
it wasn't.
Until it wasn't.
He didn't get Oasis tickets, so that's maybe why.
That's it. I mean,
none
of us did really, but you know.
No, I nearly did, but that never happened.
Oh, hey ho. But yeah, and then Moto3. Very smart race, may I add, by David Alonso in 4th place. Didn't work out the way he wanted to do, cooking his tyres. But to take those points in 4th means he's actually extended his championship lead from 71 to 75 points. And he's on track to be potentially one of the fastest champions crowned ever in terms of races to go.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough that he did the right thing and just settled for 4th place, but
he did cook his tyres.
A bit concerning that he did cook his tyres, though. Like, I do think that maybe needs to be pinned somewhere and sort of maybe just, okay, that has happened. And yeah, okay, you did still extend your championship lead, but that's just a little point against his name that I'm going, okay, maybe a weakness, or
It's
maybe the
all a
team should
learning.
have been
Here's a
telling him
learning curve.
something. But
You're
yeah,
right.
I let it slide for this one, but I've taken note of it anyway.
Okay.
How
well
old's
then,
Alonso?
18, 19 now.
So this 18, 19-year-old rode smarter than Furman, who I guess is like a
The
year or
same
so.
age.
Yeah, he's 18.
He's 18, but has more world championship experience.
Mm-hmm.
And dare we say Pecco as well, in being desperate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, we spoke about how mature and smart Alonso is and his racecraft, and you mentioned what Neil Hodgson said during the race, and it was exactly right. You know, on your good days, you take the win, and on your bad days, you bring it home in fourth. And if that's what you're doing, you're going to win the championship. And here we are. He's on track to be the earliest crown champion. Did you say?
Yeah, but throughout the season, I think Brad Binder might be the earliest one from what I remember, because he won it like Aragon or something, like 5 races to go, something stupid like that.
And this is how you do it, by being smart, and obviously by being exceptionally fast and talented as well. But
yeah, of course,
the whole package of being intelligent with it, makes the difference.
I think the smartest rider in Moto3 on Sunday was obviously Rueda.
Yeah. So I'm just looking through the race results.
Smartest, or like had nothing to lose, so took a tire gamble and it paid off, sort of like.
But like Alonso clearly cooked his tires.
Yeah, I get that.
Vire went too early. Lunetta just, I mean, don't know what happened there. Just happened to be lucky in the right position, right place, right time.
Furasato went too early.
Yeah, I think Rueda showed that he was the smartest.
Wasn't Rueda on some like took a gamble with the tire, and it was like an experimental one or something, or like a prototype? So
yeah, they brought a new tire, and him and Gutierrez ran it.
Right. Okay. So that's a gamble, right? There's no data there really to say how that's going to fare at this track in these conditions, this length of race. You know. Yeah, like smart in the way that he rode his race, for sure. But like we can't just say that's all down to Rueda, right? That's a gamble that everybody took.
Oh well, like the team as a whole, like took the gamble and it paid off.
For sure.
But in the sense of like he stayed back and he was like 4th, 5th place the whole way throughout the race.
But just let the race come to him.
Yeah, didn't take the bait when everyone else did.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the racecraft was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah,
great ride.
And then finished ahead of Colin Vire, who again impressive ride, and then Luca Lanetta, who we've said all year has been quite impressive. I'll tell you what, it's absolutely lovely to see the 58 on the 50 coloured 58. Lovely. The 58 on the 58 Sitch bike stand on the podium once again. I thought that was quite a nice little thing.
Cool.
Luca Lanetta, prodigy of Fabio Di Gianantonio as well, because Digia works with him to design all his suits and his helmets and things like that, and has kind of taken him under his wing a little bit. Yeah, and Lanetta very quick in rookies and the Junior World Championship last year, and I'm very happy to see him on the podium. And I think there's more to come. Joel Kelso again in 5th, very strong ride. And
I thought he was going to have 4th, but not quite.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Yeah, not quite. Yeah, and then obviously Furasato in 6th as well. Cooked his tires, but I think pretty solid race from Tayo. I think if that intact GP rumour's true that he's going to go there, they've got a very strong lineup next year.
Yeah, for sure.
With Munoz and Furasato. And I think Furasato and a KTM can be a lot more consistent. So,
I think so.
the championship. Obviously, Alonso currently leads by quite a way. Still, let's have a look. So 75 points
75.
over Colin Via
75.
already. The fight for third is juicy with
Ortola
Via.
had a bit of a meh weekend.
So Via's currently second in the championship with 162. Ortola third, 157. Holgado fourth, 156.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ortola does
Nice.
need to have better results to remain in the top four. Where did he
Yeah,
go?
what was that about?
Holgado was 9th too. Like,
Livid.
both of them weren't good.
Honestly.
Ortola was, where was it? 12th. Blimmin' heck. It's not good, is it?
Indeed.
Blimmin'
Because
heck.
I predicted him. That's why.
Yep.
And Holgado.
To be
Ridiculous.
fair, I think I did as well because Holgado and Ortola have historically gone very well around Aragon. Because I was saying,
Yeah, you
"Oh, they'll be
said
on the
you did
podium,
this
whoa."
whole big spiel about how Alonso, Holgado, Ortola, and I think David Munoz were going to be the
Yeah.
four like fighting for the podium.
Well,
Egg on your
Alonso was one of them.
How does it feel to look stupid with your predictions? Because this is how we feel week in and week out.
I think I
I'd never
still
get
scored.
smug messages from you in the WhatsApp being like,
Going,
just do better.
"Oh."
Just predict better. I've got so many points.
To shoot all your little claims down, I did score the most points out of everybody on the predictions this weekend. So
Yeah, because you trusted Mark.
and a few other people, it seems. Yeah, it was just
Well,
Mark.
I've got some points.
You've got
Some.
Yeah. Should we go into predictions? Because we need to kind of do this and Misano, and we've been talking for an hour and a half
True.
now.
Yeah.
An hour and a half.
Bedtime.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, in going into the weekend, I'll say, I led with 577 points. Cameron is second with 372.
Oh!
Lauren in third with 368.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know. Oh,
So,
dearie me. Okay.
out of everybody in Moto3, me and Cameron got Alonso on pole, and that is it. So, me with 587, Cameron with 382, Lauren with 368 still. In Moto2, the only thing that was correct was Dixon winning by Lauren. So, Lauren goes to 393 points to overtake Cameron again.
And that's where it ends.
Yep.
Oh no.
And
No, I score more.
in MotoGP, I predict Marquez to win the sprint, so I get 12 points. Me and Cameron predicted Marquez to win the feature race, that's 25 points each. And Lauren got Martin in second place.
Ouch.
Oh, still very close.
This is the problem. Like, I had Arbolino third, so I was close.
Yeah, you were close.
And
Close,
I did
but
have
no
Mark on the
cigar.
podium, but
Cameron had Dixon
I had
second.
little faith. So
Yeah, and then to be fair, you had Marc Bagnaia to win, Lauren, and you had Marquez third. I had Marquez, Bagnaia, Martin. Again, close. Cameron had Marquez, Bagnaia, Bastianini. So nowhere near, unfortunately.
What? No, but like, what a fool I am to pick the person who won last time we were here, Enea, and then the rider that won the time before that, and also has all the momentum coming into the weekend. What a fool I am to choose those
I
two
went
riders.
Pecco for everything because Pecco did everything at Austria and has notably beat Marc Marquez around Aragon.
Yeah, what a couple of fools we are.
How stupid would I be?
Why don't we predict this?
Seriously,
Honestly.
that is the first weekend that Pecco has, like, from start to finish, had a horror weekend. And I was all, no, this week I'm backing him, and this is what happens.
Same. I was like,
and if
he's
I pick
gonna have
anyone else for Misano, Pecco is going to win everything. So me and Pecco have beef. That's all I'm gonna say.
Heading into Misano, I obviously lead with 624 points. Lauren is second with 413. Cameron is third with 407 points.
Oh,
6 point split.
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay then. Okay.
So I'm going to lead with Misano Moto3 pole. I'm going to say
I know who I'm going to say.
Alonso. What are you going for, Cameron?
Yes, also Alonso, please.
Why do
Okay.
you do this?
I think he's had 5 poles in 7 races so far. And Lauren?
He won here last year, so yeah, David Alonso, please.
Solid. Third place, please, Cameron. Moto3.
Misano.
Italia.
Exactly. Exactly. I need to channel that. Whoa, dear me. I might. Is
Right,
this
come on,
what my life
Cameron.
has led to? Is this what my life has led to?
Yeah.
Can I? Jeez, oh. After Aragon, I'm like, I don't know anymore. Who's got form? Who knows? Like,
I don't know, but
let's put a bit of faith in Kelso to get a podium. Let's do it.
nice. I like it. Right, I'm gonna go with, give Lauren a chance so she can go last. I'm gonna go with. Wait, I'm giving you a chance. Cameron's last, isn't he? He is last.
Yeah. I don't need any chances, thanks.
That's true. That's true. No, I'm gonna go with for third Italian. We are going to see potentially those Grassini liveries in MotoGP this weekend as well. Just
Well,
saying.
that'd be nice.
Third place. Oh, come on. I can pick a name. Via. And Lauren, please.
Holgado.
Nice. Right. Second place, I'm going to go Rueda again.
Oh, I forgot about Rueda.
Lauren.
Second place, Fire.
Nice. And Cameron.
I'm torn.
I'm a little thing. Was that the lyric? Torn.
I'm already torn.
That's it, yeah.
Are you going to give us the whole rendition of this as well?
No.
Okay.
You can tell we're getting
I can do the Spanish national anthem and the
Dutch
Italian
one.
No, thanks. May I please... can I also have Rueda, please?
Okay. Right, is it safe to say we're all going for Alonso to win?
Yes.
Sound. Well, that's easy. Right, Cameron Moto2 pole, please.
Arbolino.
Okay, nice.
Italy.
I like the idea of that one. Lauren, please.
I was smart and looked up some stats.
Nice. That makes a change.
Oh, I didn't check the forecast. Hold on.
Oh! And Vietti did well here last year.
Yeah.
So I didn't back him at the Red Bull Ring where he won last year. So I'm going to put him on pole in Misano because he was pole in Misano last year.
Nice. Okay. Well, I've gone Dixon pole. Momentum is my idea.
Cool.
I've gone podium third. Will stick with me for Vietti. Cameron.
Yeah, I was also going to say Vietti.
Nice. And Lauren.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Alonso Lopez.
Oh, I've just pipped him for second place. Nice. Right, Cameron second, please.
Dixon.
Okay. And Lauren?
Dixon.
Well, hilariously, I've gone Dixon to win. So, Cameron, who's your winner?
Arbolino to win.
Arbolino to win.
I knew you were going to say it. So I had to say it first.
Cameron, you
What
going
does it
Arbolino?
mean? I can also not say Arbolino to win. This is Arbolino's revenge in Misano.
Okay,
I think.
Arvelina to win for both of you. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I just knew you were going to say. I could see it on your face when you put in pole position. I just wanted to put it out there that I had said it first. So
Nice.
Great. Well, that means I can blame you when he doesn't win.
when he crashes or something, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a
you.
question before we go into MotoGP. Last year we saw yellow Ducatis at Misano. Do you think we'll see them again?
Ducati hate special livery. I say after Misano, I've just lost, or after Silverstone. Like, why do they
True.
bother?
True. So,
They already
Pole,
did the blue one this year too.
Oh yeah, that was nice. That was
So-
nice.
It was nice.
Mm.
Tricolore.
Tricolore. Maybe they'll have a green one, a green Ducati.
That'd be cool. Yeah, just do the
Or a
whole
white
rainbow.
one.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Grassini
pink.
one's the white one,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, bless you.
Sorry, I was sneezing.
There we go.
Thank you. Right. Pole position MotoGP, Jorge Martin. For me, Cameron, please.
It's hard to argue with Martin.
Martin. I'd like Martin.
Okay.
Well, in that case, if you're both going Martin, I will go with Pecco then.
Nice. I've gone Pecco to win the sprint. Cameron?
Yeah. But also, I don't. I'll say Martin to win the sprint then. I'll flip your predictions there.
What should be Martin now? And Lauren?
Martin.
Okay. Podium third, I have gone Martin. Lauren?
See, I know who I want to win, but other than that, I'm a bit conflicted. I'm going to go with Pecco third.
Okay, interesting. And Cameron?
Martin third, please.
Okay, interesting.
What's that face for? What? Say your piece.
Bold.
Is it bold? Is it bold to put Martin on the podium? Apologies.
Third, yeah. First or second, I'd not say anything.
All right then. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right. Second, I've gone Marc Marquez. Cameron?
As have I. Thank you, yes.
Right. Sick. And Lauren?
I've gone Enea Bastianini.
Ooh, interesting. Right, does that mean we've all gone...
He was second there a couple of years ago.
That is true. Does that mean me and Cameron have got Bagnaia to win? Okay. Sick. And Lauren?
For those listening, I was nodding.
Yeah.
Jorge Martin.
Okay. Interesting. Well, there you go. Yeah, that's our predictions for this week.
Oh my goodness. I need to change them all.
Pecco's going to do everything, win everything now, because this is what I said earlier in the podcast episode, that the one time I predict him to do, pole position, sprint, win, this is the weekend that he has. So
yeah, it's typical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
So I've decided I've gone the other way. Martin's going to win everything instead.
Nice. We did last year.
37 points there last year. Yeah.
So we'll see. I think that's all we've got time for anyway. We've been doing it an hour and 45 minutes.
This is a bumper episode, people.
It
You're
is.
so welcome.
I was like, we'll go an hour today. Nearly 2 hours later.
But this is what happens when they're back-to-back races like this, and now we've got another race coming up this weekend.
Yeah,
it's just going to be like this for the foreseeable, because there's so much happening.
8 races in 10 weeks?
Yeah.
Sick.
Hell yeah. Gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, I think that's all we've got time for. Thank you very much for listening. Follow us on YouTube or subscribe to us on YouTube. Like the video. Follow us on Instagram at OnTheGasPod.
We're running a really cool giveaway.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, yeah.
So try and get into that one if you can. And thank you very much for listening. We're back next time. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.